topic of hatchbacks and hot hatchbacks comes to mind, people tend to leave out a specific car, and today I want to talk about that specific vehicle, and that is the Mazda 3Sport. Welcome to GoneDrivin. My name is Rahul, and today we're going to be looking at the 2022 Mazda 3Sport Turbo GT. But first, a special and a huge welcome to Mazda Canada to the channel and for providing me with their first ever press car. If you're new to the channel, make sure you subscribe, and of course, don't forget to like the video. So you might be wondering, where exactly does the Mazda 3Sport rank in the fleet of Mazda's models? Well, you've got a Mazda 3, which is a sedan variant of this car, which is also the cheapest one. And you've got this right here, the Mazda 3Sport, starts at about $22,000. And also the trim levels in this go as the following. You've got a GX, a GS, and a GT. And for the drivetrains, you can get a front wheel drive or an all-wheel drive as optional. As for my tester, this is a Mazda 3Sport Turbo GT, which is the top of the line variant. And you've got this beautiful, beautiful soul red crystal metallic that I really love on this car, with some other features and accents that are specific to the Turbo GT, which we'll see in a moment. From the front of the Mazda 3Sport, we've got this mesh grille here in the front, accompanied by a Mazda logo and then LED headlights, which look very nice. And also a fun fact about the headlights is the turning signals. So we'll put a clip of that in a moment here, but the way they flash is very interesting and very different from all the other manufacturers or any other cars. And then right underneath the mesh grille, we've got this little lip, if you want to call it that. I think it kind of adds to the overall sportiness of the car. Doesn't really have any sporty or doesn't really have any performance purpose behind it, but it still looks very nice and I like it. As for the powerhouse in the Mazda 3Sport, you've got the 2-liter flat 4 engine for the GS, the GX, and the GT. My tester is equipped with the most powerful engine you can get in the Mazda 3Sport, which is a 2.5-liter flat 4 engine that produces 250 horsepower with 93 fuel and 227 with 87 fuel. From the side, the Mazda 3Sport definitely looks quite compact, more compact than some of the other hatchbacks I've seen, especially in the rear passenger door. And spoiler alert, it's not the most spacious in the back. And on the C-pillar here, we've got these very sharp lines. So again, I think it doesn't look too bad, but also at the same time, I think it adds to the overall design language of this car. I know Mazda is really centered on a Japanese design philosophy, and you can sort of see that in this car. And also specific to the Turbo GT, you get 18-inch gloss black aluminum wheels, you get gloss black heated door mirrors, and also a gloss black mesh grille, which we saw earlier on. So a fun fact about the Mazda 3Sport is that there's an optional feature in this car that is the proximity lock. So basically what that means is that as long as you have your key in your pocket, you can literally just get out of the car and walk away and it'll lock by itself. And let me demonstrate how that works. So right now the car is locked. We're gonna open it up. We're gonna open the door, and suppose we're just getting out of the car, we close it up and you just walk away. So just like you heard that beep there, I'm gonna show you guys that it's locked up. Boom. From the rear of the Mazda 3Sport, I love how it looks from here, especially the taillights. You've got these circular ring lights for your nighttime as well as your daytime LEDs. And you've also got a crosshair, yeah, that's right, a crosshair for your reverse lamps and turning signals. Bit of a cool design thing that Mazda did. I don't know if it was intentional or not, but it looks very nice. You've also got this in a black spoiler, if you want to call it that. Contrasts very nice with this soul red crystal metallic. Trust me, if you're going to get a Mazda 3Sport, definitely get this color. I think it's the best one you can get. And also, anyways, back to the review, you've also got this little plate here, the silver plate. I'm not really sure why it was added. I know, I guess it's for the mud and anything else you might be loading into the car. I don't really like it, if I'm being completely honest with you. So I wish Mazda kind of kept it either the same as the body color or just didn't have it at all. And you've also got this little black rear bumper here. Again, kind of adds to the overall design language of, you know, the contrast of the red and the black. You've also got two exhaust pipes in the bottom. And again, for the Turbo GT model, the diameter of the mufflers is a little bit larger than the other trims. Now let's go ahead and check out the trunk of the Mazda 3Sport. So you slide your hand underneath right here. Unfortunately, it's not the logo flip like a lot of other cars have it, but it is what it is. So we'll open it up. It's on a power trunk lift gate. And you've got pretty decent amount of space. It's a very deep trunk for sure. So Mazda says that you can get about 500 liters of space without the seats folded. And then with the seats folded, you get about 1,300 liters of space, which is quite a bit. And now with the exterior out of the way for the Mazda 3Sport, let's go ahead and check out the interior because it is quite plush. All right, so currently in the inside of the Mazda 3Sport, and I gotta say, it is a very simple interior, but very plush and comfortable. For the driver's side cockpit area, especially the gauge cluster, you've got 3 dials. You've got 2 analog style and 1 digital. So the analog styles are on the left and right, one's for the RPM and the other one's for your oil, as well as your fuel. And in the middle, you've got a digital screen that can be configurable and adjustable to whatever you like. And as for the steering wheel here, we've got a beautifully leather wrapped steering wheel with your entertainment controls on the left and your adaptive cruise control. So this car does come with adaptive cruise control as well as traffic jam assist. which is all controlled from the right side of the steering wheel. Nothing on the bottom here, but overall I love the steering wheel itself. And also, as part of the 7-speed automatic transmission, you do get paddle shifters if you want them. A lot of Mazda owners wanted Mazda to bring those back, so they made sure that they added in this car. We'll see how they perform and react when we go for a drive. Is it really a deal breaker for me? Personally, not so much. For the driver's panel, you've got a bunch of leather, actually, not just on the panel, but everywhere else around the car. And I think it really looks luxurious, and it really makes the interior seem a lot more sophisticated. And then you've also got your Bose optional speaker system, a 12-speaker system, actually, which is phenomenal. I promise you, and I kid you not, you can take my word for it, it is the best thing you'll hear in a car. They look very nice, especially with the silver color here, but there's just so many different settings with it, and I think it's just the music quality that comes out of it is so crispy. And then right underneath the speakers, we've got your window controls. And I gotta applaud Mazda for this one because the way they put it is just genius. So with most cars, the window controls are just on a flat surface or a straight line. But with this one, it's on a bit of a slant. And the reason being, it's convenient. It's way more convenient than you having to reach down and see which button you're opening up. But I gotta say, this is really well thought of. I did not see it coming, but good job, Mazda. And then for the center console area here, you've got a pretty simple setup, not really much going on. Very simple to use and very easy to use. And I love that because some manufacturers really try to make it too complex, but Mazda stayed very simple and subtle with how you control the infotainment, which is awesome. In terms of controlling your sport mode, if you just want to turn it on, you just literally flick the switch. I love how everything in this car is based on a bit of a switch. It feels like you're turning on something in a plane or something like that, because even with the volume, you just literally touch this button here to increase or decrease it. Same thing goes with the sport, to turn a sport mode on or off, as well as the cruise control. It's a very unique thing that I saw here, but it just feels very nice. It's the smallest things that really make a difference. I think this is one of those things. And then for the cup holders here, we've got 2 cup holders, not heated or cooled, and then some storage space right behind it. There is no wireless charging mat by any means. Unfortunate, but it is what it is. For the cup holders, I do have to make one point, is that we've got a bottle here. And if you don't have anything on the right side of the cup holder, it seems to just fall over very easily, especially when I'm going on the ramp, on the highway ramp or anything like that, or if I'm taking a sharp corner, the ball just keeps falling in. So maybe it's just a bottle, I don't know. But yeah. All right, so now let's go ahead and look at the infotainment screen because it is a little disappointing. I'm not gonna lie to you guys. All right, so let's go ahead and start up the car now. So like I mentioned earlier, you've got 3 dials, 2 of them are analog, and the one in the middle is digital. You can configure it using this button here. So you just press the info and it changes into a digital analog style if someone wants it. And you can also switch it to your driving information, so your fuel average, and that's about it. Also your map direction. You can change it one more time to see your safety features, as well as your adaptive cruise control to see if there's any car in front of you. It also lets you know if there's someone in your blind spot. You already have the blind spot monitoring, but you also see it here, which is very nice. And now let's move to what I have to pick a bone with. All right, so we've got an 8.8-inch screen. It is not touchscreen though. This is a 2022 car and it doesn't have touchscreen. I don't know why Mazda did that. I really hope they have it for the 2023. But a lot of my problem begins with that and probably ends with that. So I'll show you with the CarPlay. You do have CarPlay, but not wireless. So you get your wire out and you plug in your phone, and you have to navigate through the whole CarPlay with this little knob, or this little control knob that we have, which gets very annoying because a lot of the CarPlay interface is meant to be used through touchscreen, and having to go through this little control knob here, it's definitely a little bit annoying, and I do not like it. Besides the CarPlay, in terms of programming the buttons, the CarPlay is programmed pretty well, because if you want to listen to music, or if you want to go to your music on your CarPlay, you just press the button here and it actually takes you there. If you want to go to your navigation, you just press the little button here and it goes to the Apple map. So it's programmed pretty well in that way. Speaking of navigation, I got to show you guys the Mazda navigation because you'll see in a second. So as you can see, the navigation itself is quite disappointing. It definitely has not lived up to standards of most 2022 vehicles. I was in a Kia last week and that navigation was spectacular. I really wish Mazda could just simply improved on the bare minimum, which is the graphics. They didn't do that. I'm not sure why, but I hope that for the next generation or the next year's model, they change that. And now let's go ahead and quickly check out the back seats, because as I spoke in the beginning, they're not that spacious. Alright, so in the backseat of the Mazda 3Sport, and like I mentioned earlier, it is a little bit tight, especially in the legroom and the headroom. I'm at 5'8", 5'9", and my head's almost touching the roof. So someone at 6 feet is definitely not going to have a good time. Similar idea from the front comes to the back. We've got the leather on the door panels, same design language for the window controls, and you've got a little armrest or a little thing for your hands here, 2 cup holders, nothing else really, no USB ports or no vents. But again, I mean, this is a small car, the cooling shouldn't be that much of an issue. You've also got a seat pouch on the right side, not here. I'm not sure why that was the case, but it is what it is. Besides that, a very comfortable and a decent interior to be in. And now with the interior and the exterior out of the way, I think it's time that we take the Mazda 3 Sport out for a spin. All right, so currently driving the Mazda 3 Sport GT Turbo. And my initial impressions of the car since I've gotten into it is the fact that it's quite punchy, I'll tell you that. We're gonna slow it down a little bit here, and there's lots of nice noises coming into the car as well. None of it is pumped in audio, which is very nice. Like the Kia I had last week, you can pay extra to pump in audio, but in this one, it's all, you can hear it right through the windows, through the car, which is really nice. For a $40,000 car, I do feel like, you know, or a lot of people would agree that it's a pretty steep price point for a small hatchback, and I get it for sure. But the thing is, you're getting a decent amount of technology. Not all of it is the best, but it is there. But the best thing is the driving experience in this car. It's really awesome, and I love that because for me, I'm more of a person that cares about the drive more than the actual technology and the luxurious things. All right, so we're gonna floor it here in sport mode, and you're gonna really hear that 2.5 liter flat 4 engine just come into life here. And it's definitely quick. Like I said earlier, at 87 fuel, you get 227 horsepower and about 310 pound-feet of torque. And then with 93 fuel, you can get about 250 horsepower, which is quite a bit for a small 4-cylinder engine. And in terms of the confidence of actually, you know, taking on a corner or anything like that, it's amazing. I mean, I've taken some very sharp corners in this car, and you have all the confidence, especially because this is an all-wheel drive car, which helps out a lot. But you know, if you were to get the Mazda 3 Sport, especially in the Canadian market, you have to get the all-wheel drive. The front-wheel drive is not going to cut it for our Canadian winters. In terms of the handling of this car, it is pretty solid. You have a lot of confidence when you take on corners, especially with the all-wheel drive, as I was mentioning earlier. And Mazda does say that they base their entire vehicle ownership experience through the Jin Bai Tai philosophy, which basically mentions or states that it's creating unity between the driver and the vehicle. It's a very interesting way of putting things together, but I gotta say, I do really see that in fruition, especially when you take this car into hard corners. Going forward, Mazda does say that all their cars are gonna have something called GVC, or G vectoring control. It is a bit of a difficult concept to understand and grasp onto. I had to really read into it, and it's kind of multifaceted in that way, but basically what it means is that Mazda is so focused on creating a pleasurable and comfortable experience for the driver that they don't want them to be fatigued, or they don't want the driver to be putting in a lot of effort to take on corners or to take on any sharp bends. And they do so by using this technology called G vectoring control. And a lot of it is through the distribution of power from the front to the rear wheels and back and forth. And again, correct me if I'm wrong. You can, if you're from Mazda and you're watching this, just let me know if I'm wrong. But there was no video around this, so I had to read everything that was provided to me, and I tried to build off the best explanation that I could. But regardless, from what I've seen in this car driving it, I gotta say that I can really see that concept in reality and being used, because one of the things that they mentioned was the fact that the whole point of the GVC is to make sure that there's minimal input from the driver when switching lanes or when taking on corners. And I really do notice that, especially when when I took this car on any off-ramp or on-ramp to get into a highway. Usually when you're taking on a corner or when you're taking on a turn, your whole body, especially your torso, goes into that direction. With this car, the way it's engineered and the way it's built, that's minimized. So you could still be moving a little bit, but for the most part, you're firm and you're intact in your seat. And Mazda goes on about talking about how a fatigued driver is not a very pleasurable experience, which is very true. So they want to minimize that as much as they can, and this is one of the ways that they're doing it. I will say one thing, and that's, I'm a bit surprised that Mazda hasn't created a sporty or performance model of the Mazda 3 Sport Turbo. Sure, this is the fastest one that they have, and it's got all the power, but it's also focused quite a bit on the luxury. So I feel like it'd be a really fun thing to have a performance-oriented Mazda 3 Sport, because Volkswagen does it with their GTI, there are, as well as Hyundai does it with their N lineup of cars now, and then we've also got Ford doing it with their Focus ST. So I think it would be a mildly successful thing on the market if Mazda tried it out. Here are my final thoughts on the Mazda 3 Sport GT Turbo. If you want a car that's more focused on the driving and the whole experience around that, then you get this car. If you want technology, you do not get this car, because the infotainment and just the overall technology in this car is just not, it's adequate, but it's not amazing by any means. Especially the CarPlay and the touchscreen, which I feel like most drivers will be using every day, is not up to par. But again, from the driving perspective, this thing is fast, it's punchy, it's quick, it's all-wheel drive, and trust me, you can have a little bit of fun with it if you wanted to. So that's definitely what I would say, and if you're okay with that, then this car is definitely for you. And with that, my review on the 2022 Mazda 3 Sport comes to an end. If you enjoyed watching this video, make sure you hit the like button, of course. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel.